two most important relationships we have are with each other and with the land. They require effort, ingenuity, and great care. Climate change is raging through these relationships with great force. It makes lives that are already precarious even harder. It combines with political and economic forces to pull communities apart. But it doesn't have to. Our connections to the land and each other run deep. The bonds are not easily broken. As the conditions around us morph and change, we adapt so that the bonds become stronger, not weaker. And as climate change changes everything, we don't cling hopelessly to a vanishing yesterday. We strive for a better tomorrow. In the remote community of Dosa, 40 miles south of Mount Everest, an organising effort is underway. A group of farmers are changing the way they connect to the land and to the global economic structures that have held them in poverty for so long. What they are doing to simultaneously adapt to climate change and to eradicate poverty may provide a model that other Himalayan communities can follow. This is their story. See for yourself. It's 7 a.m. on a chilly January morning. A team from Eco-Himal and the Glacier Trust are preparing the equipment they need to run a 3-day training workshop on Dosa's lower slopes. Below, farmers are busy picking ripe coffee beans from trees on land around their homes. These are Nepal's mid-hills. Dosa is a municipality of around 5,000 people. They live in traditional homes on ancient terraced slopes and, for generations, have existed as subsistence farmers trading oranges, rice, millet and potatoes, or produce from chickens, goats, sheep and cattle. Coffee grows well here, especially on the north-facing slopes at altitudes between 12 and 1,500 metres. The soils are not perfect, but they are fertile, and there are plenty of other larger trees that provide the shade that coffee trees need. Shade is great for people and animals too, especially as climate change increases temperatures and direct sunlight becomes too hot to bear. Growing coffee like this also absorbs more carbon dioxide and produces more oxygen than monoculture methods. But farmers here and across the region have not always been keen on coffee growing.
2014, when I was there for monitoring, not the tree crop, different thing in a regular project, and I found the farmers were cutting the trees, coffee trees. It was quite grown up. And then I stopped them. Why are cutting these trees? And they say, this is useless. We cannot sell the coffee, and processing is so difficult. And then I went down a little bit, and one old woman was kind of pulping in a manual stone and 2 stones. She's using 2 stones like a grinding stone, and she was pulping. And I thought, oh my God, I understand what they are telling. And then in other side, I found some coffee beans. They were drying. They were drying directly at sun. And then I stopped the farmer to cut the tree, and I asked him, okay, let me go to Kathmandu. Then I'll find some sort of a solution. Then we can I'll tell you whether you should cut it or you will keep it.
Four years later, and things are very different. Over 300 farmers are now growing coffee in Dosa, and interest is growing in neighbouring communities. This is partly due to climate change. It now makes sense to grow coffee at 1,500 metres. It grows well, whereas other crops are beginning to struggle. But it is also the result of a sustained programme of training and community organising led by Eco-Himal. "30 farmers have arrived for the workshop. They are inexperienced when it comes to growing coffee and are here to learn how to nurture trees from seedlings to full maturity, how to pick the beans and how to prepare them for roasting. The workshop will be hands-on, but will also have classroom elements. This is not just about growing and processing coffee. The workshop will explore how to organise a community to market and sell coffee. The workshop will also explore how to organise as a community to market and sell coffee and the other high-value crops growing here as part of a broader agroforestry programme. The coffee is bringing fresh income into Dosa, helping to close the income gaps between rich and poor in Nepal.
My name is Bhola Kumar Shrestha. I come from Gorkha district and working for Helvetia Swiss Inter Cooperation Nepal as a coffee and organic agriculture advisor. In collaboration with Eco-Himal Nepal, we are conducting organic coffee production and processing training for farmers of this area. And we had conducted last year also a similar training for 3 days, and this year also doing the same. 30 plus farmers participating in this training from 6 or 7 villages, 7 gaunpalika.
"8,000 coffee tree saplings have been distributed across Dosa and neighbouring Waku in the last few years. 5,000 trees have already reached maturity. More are being distributed today. 15,000 saplings in total will be provided this year. Bamboo is used to construct frames to measure how far apart the trees should be planted, and smaller ones are made to support the sapling as it grows.
I am talking about almost all parts of coffee from the history, where it came from, and its distribution in Nepal and in the worldwide, its market in the world market and in Nepal market, its potential for Nepal, and its challenges in production and processing, and also the market potential and income generating potential of the coffee.
Climate change has the potential to devastate this part of Nepal. Its impacts are already evident. The monsoon season is becoming less predictable. There are longer droughts, and there has been an influx of insect pests. The warmer temperatures at higher altitudes mean that trees and plants, but also weeds and parasites, are growing further up the hillside than was previously thought possible. It is deeply unsettling for everyone here, especially for those who are only just grasping the concepts of climate change. If they don't adapt, climate change will be life-ruining. Coffee production and agroforestry are part of that adaptation process. They improve the environment and the land. It keeps life here viable. There is an obvious benefit too. Increased wealth, even when it is modest, makes other things possible. The income generated can be invested in other climate change adaptation projects, like water harvesting, insect control, polytunnels and landslide prevention.
म चाहिँ हरि कार्की र म इको हिमाल नेपालमा चाहिँ कृषि प्राविधिकको रूपमा काम गर्दै आइरहेको छु। अहिले चाहिँ अब विश्वमा खड्किरहेको जुन यो जलवायु परिवर्तनको मुद्दा छ, अब यो मुद्दा चाहिँ अब नेपाल पनि त्यतिकै त्यो मुद्दाप्रति चाहिँ अब संवेदनशील छ। जलवायु परिवर्तनलाई चाहिँ घटाउनु पर्छ भन्ने कुरा हो र त्यसमा पनि हाम्रो चाहिँ अब अहिले यो दियो रुख खेती कार्यक्रमले चाहिँ एकदमै जलवायु परिवर्तनलाई न्यूनीकरण गर्नका लागि एकदमै ठुलो सहयोग गरिरहेछ। किनभने हामीले अब अहिले चाहिँ यहाँ म्याक्सिमम कफी खेती गराइरहेछौँ र वायुमण्डलमा भएको म्याक्सिमम यो कार्बन सञ्चितीकरण गर्ने कुराहरूलाई चाहिँ हामीले रोपेको बिरुवा, हामीले रोपेको रुखले चाहिँ सहयोग गर्ने भएकोले यो कफी खेतीले चाहिँ एकदमै जलवायु परिवर्तनलाई चाहिँ न्यूनीकरण गर्न चाहिँ ठुलो सहयोग पुगेको छ। अब यो प्रत्यक्ष अप्रत्यक्ष सबै हिसाबले, किनभने अब
The farmers have come to this training to learn how to nurture their coffee trees from sapling to maturity, but they also want to know how to process the coffee bean once it has been picked. Coffee beans grow inside sweet, red coffee cherries. Once picked, these cherries need to be processed as soon as possible before the fruit begins to rot. The first step is to remove the fruity layer. It can be done by hand, one at a time, but it is very slow work. It is this part of the process that puts so many farmers off. One simple piece of equipment has made a huge difference in Dosa: a hand-turned coffee pulping machine. The Glacier Trust have provided 6 machines for farmers here. At the training, they learn how to use it.
मेरो चाहिँ नाम सुनिता राई, घर चाहिँ थुलुङ दुधकोशी गाउँपालिका 4 जुबु। त्यो चाहिँ अहिले पानी पनि पर्दैन हैन, पहिला जति पनि हुन्थ्यो नि जस्तै हिउँ पर्ने ठाउँहरुमा हिउँ पर्न छोडिसक्यो, तुषारोहरु पर्ने ठाउँमा पनि अहिले तुषारो पर्न छोडिसक्यो र हाम्रोमा पहिला चाहिँ यो भन्दा 8-10 वर्ष अगाडि हामी बच्चै हुँदा चाहिँ जति चिसो फिल हुन्थ्यो नि अहिले त्यति चिसो चाहिँ छैन के, चिसो हुँदैन, जस धेरै कुरा भइसक्यो।
It takes around 2 days for the coffee to dry after pulping. The beans are placed on homemade drying racks where they are regularly turned and remain shaded. They mustn't dry out fully. If the bean is dried in direct sunlight and becomes too parched, it will shrink and distort, affecting the quality. However, if the bean contains too much moisture, it will deteriorate in storage as bacteria and mold start to grow. Moisture can be judged by the colour and hardness of the bean and the brittleness of the hull. The moisture content should be no lower than 9%, but no more than 12%. Up here, in the high hills, without specialist equipment, farmers must take great care and learn to rely on their own judgment to tell if their bean has the right moisture content. At trainings such as this, and a very long time before the coffee is poured into your cup, these farmers need to learn many crucial growing and processing details. But being able to consistently produce good quality beans every season, year after year, can transform a family's earning potential. This is why it is so important to invest heavily in training and to provide prolonged support for farmers who are growing delicate, high-value crops for the first time.
Coffee is potential for the mid-hills of Nepal, and this area is very much suitable for specialty coffee because this special area is at around 1200 meters and facing towards northeast, and the soil type is also good, and there are a number of fodder trees and forest trees which can be used as shade for coffee.
The reason this area has potential for coffee production is not just to do with the environmental conditions. The social conditions are developing too.
I am Anisa Kharel. I work at Eco-Himal as a district coordinator for the past 5 years in Solukhumbu. Traditional methods farmers used to farm the coffee in variety of ways, like improper use of fertilizers and then unbalanced irrigation method, on-dry harvesting method, and untimely pruning. In this way, they used to farm the coffee, but now this training has helped them to understand all stages of production involving from the soil selection, nursery preparation, picking, grading, roasting, and then also automatically to the marketing strategies.
Consistency is important not only to the individual farmer, but to the coffee growing community as a whole. The farmers sell their coffee beans to the local agroforestry resource centre, who then sell it on in bulk to roasters and traders in Kathmandu. The more consistency there is between the farmers, the better. So it makes sense to develop a common practice and to cooperate with each other as much as possible. Adaptation to climate change and poverty eradication can be done, has to be done, in tandem, and it requires some strategic thinking.
Then our first target is to produce the longer term income, because the young generation is going out of Kathmandu, from village to Kathmandu, village to out, and only there either women or elderly people are there, senior citizens are there, and they are not able to work hard. And for the subsistence cereal crop, you have to plow the land and you have to put seeds, and it takes 6 months to grow one crop. Then after 6 months, they will eat for 3 months, enough for 3 months, then they have to starve again. And also soil erosion and everything is kind of in cycle. So we thought, why don't we promote a long-term crop that they need less labor and more income.
Long-term planning is a concept farmers here understand. It is not just coffee that is being promoted. Hazelnut, macadamia and moringa trees are all growing too. These are all long-term crops that need less labour and create more income. Also, to improve diets and bring in more money, farmers are being trained in growing cabbage, cauliflower, courgettes, tomatoes and other seasonal crops. But right now, the focus is coffee. And in the workshop, Narayan is teaching farmers about the benefits of forming a cooperative, a jointly owned, democratically controlled enterprise model that will work for the collective interest of the community and create more returns directly back to the farmers.
In one side, we did a coffee training, and other side, that was a linkage with the cooperative, that people can understand how to produce and what is the role of cooperative, and how why they need a cooperative, and what is the profit distribution system in the cooperative. Normally there is a totally different system in company and cooperative. Cooperative is for the member, by the member and to the member.
Collective action is the core resource of a cooperative and will create relationships that will help these farmers achieve gains that they wouldn't be able to individually. Ultimately, a transparent and well-managed cooperative will enable Dosa's farmers to become more resilient to economic and environmental shocks, another adaptation method against the rapidly changing climate. All around the world, in all the coffee-growing nations, there is a standard happy ending to this story. We hear how coffee farmers have organised themselves into a cooperative to grow, process and sell their raw green coffee beans. These are the beans that are bought by the supermarkets, the coffee companies and all the high street chains. It is roasted, packaged up and sold to you with a fair trade stamp. Everyone is happy. Or are they? The thing is, the vast majority of coffee is first bought as green, unroasted bean in its country of origin. It then gets transported across the oceans on enormous cargo ships from poor countries to rich countries. The problem is, it's only after this point that most of the profit is made. A green, unroasted bean is worth a lot less than a golden brown roasted bean. The farmer who labours tirelessly to grow it, pick it, process it, shoulder it uphill on foot to meet the trader gets paid way before any real money is made. This mug of coffee costs £2.75. The farmer who grew it got no more than 2 pence of that, probably less. Even the fair trade stuff. This is why farmers are also learning how to roast coffee. They want this story to end differently, and it can. This is hand-roasted coffee, and a rare opportunity for these farmers to drink coffee grown on their own land. In the immediate future, coffee grown here will continue to be sold as unroasted green beans. But the cooperative that is forming in Dosa has bigger ambitions. They want to roast their own coffee at a commercial scale. In 2 years' time, they could be producing 1,000 kilograms a year, enough for 90,000 cups of coffee. It's not hard to imagine a few thousand cups of Dosa coffee being sold to trekkers on the trails up to Everest. So this story hasn't ended. The Dosa Coffee Cooperative may one day soon be selling roasted coffee locally, nationally, maybe even internationally. Once they are, they will be keeping a much larger share of the pot.
सहकारी खोलेको किन सेवाली